Hey friends, welcome back to Creators of the Lost Art. My name is Ron, and today is your lucky day. It's your lucky day because not only do I have one problem, I have two problems. See, it got down to, I think, 12 or 13 degrees last night. As you see the way that I'm dressed with my Miss Mandy knitted cap. It got very cold last night. So, as you can imagine, these rabbit water bottles are solid blocks of ice. The second problem that I have is that these rabbits, particularly her and the one on the end, they drink lots and lots of water. It's almost like they're just constantly eating, nachos or salty French fries or something. They're just always drinking water. So I'm going to try to solve that problem today, Unwreck It Ron style. Alright guys, out in the shop, I got my little helper here going to help me build this. I got my film guy over here that's filming me. But we're going to build an automatic waterer that we never have to fill up, it always stays full, and it can be used for any animals. Essentially any pets that you have or livestock that you have, you can use it for. Thank you, hon. This is a pig nipple, but it can also be used for dogs. This is one thing that we're going to be adding in the future. This one is for rabbits, which is the ones we're going to be using. And we're going to have the entire thing inside of my shop so that it doesn't freeze. I can put a heat source on it if it gets really cold. But when I built the shop, I did rough in water. I do have water out here.
That's sharp.
Yeah, that's sharp. I do have water out here that we're going to use to fill the thing. So, a few little items that you need. You need a good 5-gallon bucket that doesn't have any cracks or anything like no holes in it. You're going to put holes in it. You need to go to a hardware store, pick up a toilet fill valve. I think it's like $8 at Lowe's. And then you need a bulkhead fitting. This one is a 1/2-inch threaded bulkhead fitting. I got this off of Amazon, and I'll try to link I'll try to put the link in the description. But you can pick these up at Lowe's. They're just much cheaper on Amazon. We're going to use that. The thing that you're going to need is, I'm using a 1-inch Forstner bit just because it's new and it's handy. But we're going to drill a hole in the bottom of this. We're going to put this fill valve on the inside. We're going to connect water to the bottom of it, just like if we were making the tank on a toilet. Is essentially what we're doing out of a 5-gallon bucket. We're going to put the bulkhead fitting in. Once we get it in, we can thread in a nipple and a valve to where we can go from there and spider out to everybody's cages, and we can have water everywhere. So we're going to get started. I'll drill here. Once again, this is a 1-inch drill bit. pick a flat side of the bucket, not one of these. If yours has these little raised portions on the bucket, please don't drill into those. You want to pick out a spot that's as flat as possible. And we're just going to drill a hole in it. Pick a clean hole if it has any burrs or plastic or anything around it. You can scrape that off. Make sure we don't have any burrs on the inside. Nice and clean. Get in front of my camera. Back up a little bit. Alright, so we've got our hole drilled for one part of it. That's for the fill valve part of it. This is a little bit bigger than a 1-inch bit, so I'm going to grab
a big one.
Alright, this is 1 1/8. I don't have 1 1/8 hole saw or Forstner bit, so I'm having to use this metal bit, but it will work. It's just a PVC bucket. Have to have 1 1/8 for the 1/2-inch bulkhead fitting. Got my 1-inch hole drilled for my fill valve. I'm going to drill this one out right over here in this other flat spot. That worked great. A little bit of burr in there. Get that cleaned off. Clean off any burrs on the other one. I cannot take full credit for this. I did see another person using a fill valve, but he was not using the same components as I am. So the fill valve, open that up. This is what it comes with. You can adjust the amount of water that it holds in the bucket. It doesn't really matter because it's always full as long as this shut-off part works and it doesn't overfill your bucket and flood whatever area you have it in. I think we can leave that. Let's leave that on the inside. Better to leave that on the inside. And installing this the same way that you would a toilet. Stick it in where the threads come through the bottom. And it should come with a little nut. Threads on there. Oops. You may have to drill that hole out. You just want to hand tighten that until it compresses that rubber gasket, but not so tight that it breaks it. And that's that. The bulkhead fitting will come with a rubber washer or O-ring on it as well. Get this unthreaded. And it's right there, that guy. We'll make sure we put it on the inside of the bucket as well. Uh-oh. Tight fit. We'll just hand tighten that for now. If it leaks, we'll put a little more turns on it. But that's that. We've got the input, we've got the output. It's going to fill up until that float turns it off, so it'll always stay full. To connect this to whatever you want to connect it to. You could get a half-inch female to garden hose adapter and thread that right on there with some Teflon tape and connect the garden hose to it, and it would stay full. But I'm going to be hard piping it into my water line. So I found in my bucket of leftover plumbing parts a toilet connector that's a push to connect for a 1/2 inch CPVC, which is exactly what I'm using. And that will thread right on there. Just hand tight. And then here, all right, so going through my junk box, I found something much better than that galvanized nipple that I was going to use on here, and that is this. This is a 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch male adapter for PEX pipe. PEX is much better than the other pipe because instead of cracking whenever it freezes, it actually can swell up to 3 times its own size without cracking. So it makes it much better out in this area where it might be cold. It uses, this is PEX B, and PEX B uses a compression fitting to hold the pipe onto the actual fittings. If you guys want to use this, keep in mind, always get PEX B because PEX A uses a different fitting and it's much more expensive for the tool to use it. This is a PEX B tool. I'm going to check it to make sure. It comes with a little gauge here that you slide in the end for a go, no go gauge to make sure it's still set. It's been a little while since I've used this. So what I'm going to do is take some Teflon tape, a few wraps around the threads on that male adapter. Nice and tight. Hey, can you put that right there? No, not working? Okay, here, let me help you. Get that threaded in there. Tighten down. This is not going to have any more pressure than, you know, maybe a couple of gallons of water. The head pressure of a couple of gallons of water. So it doesn't have to be super tight. Oh, now the whole fitting's turned. Thank you. That should be plenty tight. Kind of loud in here, isn't it? Get that tight back down. All right. Now to use this, take your little 1/2 inch compression, slip it over that. Slide it on all the way. Make sure that you're using also using pipe cutters because you want the end of that PEX pipe to be very square. You don't want it to be cut at any kind of a diagonal. And you slide this up until it's about an eighth of an inch from the end. Take your little compression pliers, put them right on the end of that. And you just tighten it until it releases, and it's done. Looks great. So now I'm going to I've got a 1/2 inch PEX valve, drop air valve that I'm going to put in here. I want to leave a little bit of, I think I'll just make it up there pretty close. Another one of these couplings, slip it on there, and slide that valve on. What's neat about PEX also is that if I don't like the position of this handle once I get it installed, you can still spin this around to whatever direction you want it, orientation you want it. And it still won't leak. What are you saying? Tuba?
Tuba.
Oh, are you gonna play the tuba? All right. Now we can add this back to it. And tighten that. I've got a little bit of plumbing to do to be able to connect this to my water line, but essentially, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna affix something that I can hang it from this handle. We'll have the main water supply connected right here, and then from here I'm gonna PEX out to these 1/2" by 1/8" threaded PVC T's that are gonna have these threaded in them, going through the from the inside to the outside. This part will be sticking out into the rabbit hutches. So the rest of it will be in, all but from the threads out will be inside a space where they won't freeze. So hopefully this part won't freeze as well. I'm gonna get onto that right now. All right, so I got my water line connected. I just put a coupling in, if you can see it. Yeah, right there. 1/2" CPVC. Had a cap on it before because I had planned to do something like this. So added this 1/2" CPVC. I didn't film any of it because as you can see, it's kind of tight back here in this corner. This is that push on valve with the toilet connector on it. There's my bucket just hanging from a little nail that I put up there. I may have to do something better, but I think once we get some weight on it, it'll be okay. And from here, I can PEX out through that wall or behind that wall over to where the rabbit cages are. But for now, I've got the water turned back on. Oh, it's kind of dark. Got the water turned back on. So we've got water all the way to this valve. Let's turn this valve on. Oop. Check for leaks. I hear the fill valve filling in there. Oh, got to close this valve. Oh, that valve works. Let's close that valve. Got water at least to there. I'll try to get you guys a better shot at it. But it's filling. All right, if you can see it, got the flashlight helping me out here. It's kind of dark in this corner, but it filled until the float shut the water off. And if I were to focus, if I were to open this valve just to let it trickle out a little bit. As that goes down, it's letting a little bit of water in to make up that difference. And if a lot of water were to go out, it opens up and fills it up again, and then it shuts back off. So I think this is going to work great. And I'll be able to attach more than one animal's water to it. It'll stay in here. It doesn't get below freezing in here. Keep it from freezing. Never have to fill it. Just check it every now and then. So I've had my automatic water up here for a few days. I'm going to go ahead and cut this video short because it's getting a little bit long. I'll do a follow-up video on the actual rabbit water that I build that attaches to this. I did want to add that this could be used for more than just watering animals. Like, for instance, if you want to do some sort of drip irrigation and you had a set amount of gallons of water, like this is probably 2.5 gallons of water. You could turn this valve on, fill it up until the float stops, 2 gallons of water. Turn this off, open this to like a drip irrigation to, a small garden or something, and it would give you exactly that amount and stop running. The next day you could turn this valve off, come turn it on, and repeat, or however you want to do it. There's multiple uses. Anything you can imagine that needs water, we could figure out a way to use something like this, so you don't have to worry about constantly running, or in my case, freezing. So I'm excited about this. If you guys like it, hit the like button, subscribe. Till next time, build something cool out of a 5-gallon bucket.